Welcome everyone to the Ghana 2027 information call. Uh, Today, Wednesday the 21st. I am Deborah Mitchell Curry, class of 1980. I serve as Vice President of Fundraising for the Washington Fisk Alumni Association. And I am here with my co-host. I'm here with Angela, my co-host. That's it. Yes. Co-host. So, Angela, introduce yourself, please.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. My name is Angela Adai, class of 2011. I'm here representing my company, Onyx Group, which I founded, but I call myself the chief synergist because I'm the person that brings everything together. Nice to meet you all.
That's good. Excellent. I know we have our president here from the Washington Fisk Alumni Association, Gloria.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Gloria.
Good evening.
So, mark your calendars. The deadline is coming for your deposit. If you are interested in going with us, the deposit deadline is February the 28th. And the travel dates are Friday, February 12th, 2027 to Sunday, February 21st, 2027. So we're talking about next year. But we're getting started this year because we are planners and we know that if we can get everything planned and paid for, then that makes it just easier, for you to just enjoy. The cost of the trip right now, the double occupancy is $5,500. Single occupancy is $6,200. And as it says, we need 330 days, which will give us March 27 to know the cost of the flight. So the cost of this is just a trip. It's a 10-day trip that is inclusive of all of these things: 9 nights accommodation, hotel taxes, everything that's on the screen, the transfers, 13 whole meals. You get breakfast at the hotel every morning, 2 lunches, 2 dinners. There will be sightseeing and other excursions per the itinerary. And this is what that $5,500 or $6,200 includes. So what it doesn't include is the airfare and your visa fees, travel insurance, which we highly recommend. It's a must. You got to, if you're spending this kind of money, you need travel insurance. Vaccination, entry requirements, any kind of alcohol that you want, it's not included, tips, gratuity, and any other personal expenses. They are not included. You can pay via Zeffy for credit cards. That's credit card or debit card. There's no fee. It's a free platform. Or you can Zelle to the WFAA online at gmail.com. Or you can send a check if you are so inclined to payable to WFAA and send it to our financial secretary and my sweet mate, Cheryl Eason. And here's her address, which we will provide for you also if you don't get it off the screen. We have set up a payment schedule. If you make the deposit by February 28th, you can start in March. If you are single, occupancy is $570 per month. If it's double occupancy, it's $500 per month. And it's all the way to December. As it says, Ghana is one of the few countries that's at risk for yellow fever transmission. So you must have a valid yellow fever vaccination certificate, or else they won't let you in. That's their requirement, not ours. is the country's requirement. And after you've received your yellow fever certificate, you can apply for your Ghana visa for entry. The cost is $60. That is not included in the $5,500 or $6,200. And it's good for 90 days. And we will be coordinating that so that once we're trying to coordinate so that we have, especially here in the DMV, if you're going to get your yellow fever vaccination, they do it at Costco or you can get it at your pharmacy. You need to check with your insurance provider to see if it's covered. It may be covered, or at least a portion of it. So the cost for the yellow fever vaccination may be minimal because it may be covered or a portion of it by your insurance. So that's something for you to check on. Once you have it, we'll do those visa days where we fill it out as a group, get it sent in, step by step, so make it easier. We're trying to provide as much information and as we can, and any kind of group activity that we can do, like going to get our vaccination or doing the visa, is what we'd like to do so that everybody is on the same page. Now I'm gonna turn it over to Angela.
Good evening again, everyone. So tonight is really about a Fiskite to Fiskite conversation about traveling to Ghana. So I invited two guests. The first is Dr. Valexia Edwards, class of 2011. And then the other guest is Jay Clifton, class of 2006, I believe, Jay. Yes. And so these two guests have both are Fiskites who traveled with me to Ghana. Valexia has traveled with me on my very first trip that I organized to Ghana, and Jay has traveled with us on the most recent trip to Ghana. So two very different perspectives. And I'm hoping that they'll kind of shed some light on what it was like to travel to Ghana. Both of them traveled to Ghana for the first time, traveled to Africa for the first time on this trip, and just want to know, hear from them, like what their experiences were like. So we'll talk for maybe like 15 or 20 minutes with some questions, and then they will, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and we can kind of follow up with those questions afterwards. So I'll start with Jay, then move on to Valexia. So my first question is really about like why Africa? So before you even chose the way that you were going to get there, or how travel with the group, like what made you open to traveling to Africa or traveling to Ghana at all in the first place?
Well, it's not entirely true that I hadn't been on the continent before. I had went once before. I was in undergrad. I had went to Nairobi, Kenya, well, really 3 hours away from Nairobi. And my aunt had sent me, and I was maybe 20. And that was like my first introduction being on the continent. And I always said, I want to go back. It was just, really a great time, but to school and then work and then so on and so forth. And when, your brother, my fraternity brother, had posted and had started doing trips over there, and I was like, man, this would be a perfect opportunity to just go. And I've been looking at Ghana just over the last couple of years because everybody, the year return kind of did it, that publicizing it, promoting it, and to have somebody that was close to me that was actually from there, it was like a no-brainer. I had known people who had came back and forth from there. They always had good things to say, and I just wanted to also, I mean, the slave dungeon was a part of it. I wanted to. It's like a milestone, I guess I would say. But I didn't want that to be kind of the main thing. But I knew that's what I wanted to do as well. But also, I was interested in doing business in real estate internationally. And when we got the agenda that was part of the trip as well. And, everything just lined up. It just lined up divinely, I think. So I had to do it.
I think timing is a really important reason why a lot of people come. Like just the
Hmm.
timing was right for them. And I find that a lot. And Valexia is uh, doing multiple things at the same time, being a really supportive friend and also a really supportive auntie at her nephew's wrestling competition. So thank you so much for being here. So what about you, Valexia? What made you open to traveling to Africa?
Well, I think we all have the kind of main reason that we want to go. It's our method, it's our motherland. So I think we all have that desire to go one day. But for me, I don't know when Angela introduced me, and I don't know if we classmates, but we were also roommates all 4 years that we were at Fisk. So I felt like I had a personal connection to Ghana before I even went to the continent. So just knowing her family and all of that, I was just really excited to go. And I don't know if she shared with you that when we went, she was also getting married that week that we went. So that was another plus for me to go and have that experience. And when I tell you guys, that was an experience, a traditional African engagement ceremony. I mean, oh my goodness. So there were just a lot of personal reasons and benefits for me to want to go.
Thank you. Everyone won't get a chance to experience a wedding, but we
I got
do.
plenty of pictures, so just DM me. I can send all my pictures and videos.
But we do try to make the experience as authentic as possible. And having that family connection is really important for us. Like, not only are people coming on a trip, they're coming with us and with our family. And I think that that really makes a big difference because people are not just like arbitrarily there, but they're being received by a family. So it's just like, visiting someone and being hosted by a family. And our family is really involved in the trip and making sure that everyone's comfortable and having a great time and having a really authentic experience. So I think that the two things that you all have highlighted, both the timing and also the reception, the hospitality by a family, alongside that cultural authenticity is something that really, for me, sets these experiences apart. So thanks for sharing that. Um, so was there anything, both of you all travel with a group, and oftentimes people have concerns about traveling with a group, especially if they don't know everyone in a group. So was there something about the group structure that stood out to you or was surprising or made the trip feel doable in any way? Maybe start with Jay, then Valexia.
I thought it was helpful that we had a lot of Zoom meetings before we actually, arrived. And I think that I mean, my group was supreme. And maybe it's the mixture of uh, professions and, we all kind of did a lot of different type of things. And our thinking was different because of that. We had different upbringings too, but all professionals, I mean, in different age groups as well. And I just thought that we, connected a lot during those initial Zoom meetings that we had. I think it's about 7 or 8 for sure. And we still meet, even right now. And, we all just had a open mind to receive, but also respect one another. Yeah, it was just a good personality mix. I really don't know how it happened. I mean, because, I really don't know how it happened because I guess I mean, there was a certain amount of people that can only go on the trip, and had to be capped somewhere. And we just there was a lot of people from HBCUs, so we just gelled together nicely. But I think those initial Zoom meetings that we had all collectively, and I think those that was just very helpful. So it's like we didn't really know each other, but we were kind of familiar with one another even before we got on the plane.
So I'll just piggyback off that.
Okay.
Our group, unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to meet until we all actually got there. But we ended up having a really, really good group. And Angela will tell you, I'm the one that I'm not a group person, especially for
Mhm.
people I don't know. I'm very introverted, very awkward and shy. So that was something I was kind of concerned about with there being, this group of new people. But once we got there, I think it was just the experience of being in Africa, being excited to be there, to tour the motherland. We didn't have to code switch. We were all able to kind of let
Mhm.
our walls down. And like he said, we jailed immediately. There are still people that I met on that trip that I still keep up with, whether that's texting or instant Instagram, TikTok, all of those things. So we just ended up having a really, really good group. No egos to deal with, like he said, a mixture of professions, age group, but we all just got along together really well. So that was very, very surprising.
I had one question.
Mhm.
Jay, when did you go? And Valencia, what year did you go?
I went last year.
Okay.
Last July, 2025.
And we went summer of 2022.
Okay.
Mhm.
Still all very recent. All very,
Very,
Hmm.
and that's great. That's great. It sounds like our trip to Paris. Not all of us knew each other, but then we found that there was a lot of commonality,
mhm.
and that helped. And we're still in touch. We still communicate through our WhatsApp. Celebrating
Hmm.
birthdays and everything, and
Mhm.
yeah, we still keep in touch. So and that's the whole purpose. What we try to do with any of our experiences is to provide enough information, and so that people are not fearful, because we're putting together a group of people that everybody doesn't know everybody, and that's fine. But you will find that as you continue to meet and talk, that there are some commonalities. Angela and I just found that we have commonality, something in common. And so, yeah, in addition to her being like wonderful soror, that's wonderful. So and that's the thing. Our goal uh, as the host, the WFAA, is to make sure that we provide as much information as we possibly can, so that you're not, it's not like, I don't know what's going to happen, so that you feel at ease, and that hopefully this will be a good experience for everybody. Because for a lot of people, it's on their bucket list, or it's something that's like, well, maybe, I want to try this. So that we're hopeful that, if you are, even if you've never traveled, or if you don't have a roommate, that you will still think about, going either as a single room, or, you will find somebody, because we will pair you up if you want us to do that. We're open to do that. And we found that a lot of people found that we had paired them up, and then they were like, wait a minute, we grew up on the same street and they were like, oh my God, we never would have known that. It just, some of these things, just happenstance. So thank you guys for,
Yeah.
for telling us about your experience, your trip. Jay, you said you went with your frat brother. What
Yeah,
fraternity?
yeah, yeah. Alpha, of course. Yeah, yeah. Her older brother. I pledged the older brother. I think he was like a year after me.
Yeah, I'm a nice alpha mom, so I relate to that. I can relate to that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, much to dismay of my late Kappa husband, but it's all good. It's all good. It's all
It's all
good.
good. It's all
It's
good.
all good. All good.
So I see there's a question in the chat about about touring Elmina and Cape Coast. So maybe we can talk a little bit about the things that you all experienced on the trip, because the castles, and specifically the door no return, is a big draw for
Mhm.
people. Could you share a little bit about um what it's like to visit those really monumental historical sites?
So no, right? We both like, woo, okay. So we went to the Cape Coast Castle, and it's a very humbling experience. We all know the history, we know the story, but to walk through the halls that our ancestors walked through and to see the conditions that they were in and to pass through that door of no return. I mean, that is an experience unlike any other. It's hard to put into words, to walk those halls and be in those dungeons and those places. It was truly an amazing, humbling experience.
Yeah, I just remember everything just feeling heavy
Mm-hmm.
when that's like the best way I could describe it. Like it
Very
just felt
heavy.
like really thick. And I'm a visual person, so if you tell me something, I begin to just visualize it instantly. I'll just have it in my head, and it is uh, it's a place that I could not really stay as long. Like I couldn't. It it was a time to leave. It was yeah. It was really a time to leave. Um, but you just see it all. It all comes to life. It all comes to life. And I don't know if I'm giving away too much, but before the castle is the place of the last bath, and that was kind of like an amazing precursor to just even going to the slave dungeons. And that is the place where the slaves had their last bath before they went over to the slave dungeons. And is all of that put together, it makes for um it it's it can be emotionally draining a little bit. um you just have to engage it. It's nothing. You just have to engage it and embrace it. But it's definitely it's like such a real lived experience.
And I will say, to piggyback on our other topic, going through that, it was nice having a group to go through that experience with. Because in those moments, like you said, when it felt heavy, then we all could lean on each other to help bring each other out of the heaviness. So I'm so glad that I had a group to experience that with.
The tour guides were amazing.
They were.
I
They
thought the
were.
tour guides were exceptional. They were really good, and that helped also. Just with the whole experience, that the tour guides were amazing.
So outside of those big heavy moments, what were some other, maybe even lighter, like highlights of the trip that you guys that stuck with you afterwards?
I don't know if there's too many I can share. But no. One of my highlights was, I forget, and Angela, you'll have to remind me, when we went through the canopy bridges.
The Cape
That was
Coast
that.
Canopy Walk, yeah.
Yes, that was really fun. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but they're like however many feet up in the air, and there's these little rope canopy bridges, and there's like a whole meshwork of them. So that was really fun to do together. And then we went to the waterfall, and that was just absolutely gorgeous. So we did like a little hike through the woods and went to this little waterfall area, and I mean, it was beautiful. So those were some of my favorite moments of the trip.
To piggyback on that, I could have stayed on the ocean like I could have literally stayed on the ocean the whole time. I mean, I'm a water person anyway, but the ocean view, oh man, it's too much. It is too much. And uh that that was definitely a highlight for sure. Is it out of body?
Labadi Beach.
Libati,
Yeah.
Libati Beach. Yes, I could have did that a lot. Also, the music. I mean, we were able to, get out a little bit at some restaurants. Belle Afrique is one of my favorite places on earth, and the music was, it was a lot of Black American music there, but then it was a lot of indigenous music also. So, I mean, the music got me as well, and the food.
Talk about the food. I haven't heard you guys talk about the food, and people often want to know what's the food like? What am I going to be eating?
Uh,
Spicy. If you
spicy. Yeah, yeah.
so
Uh,
be prepared.
I was the Jollof rice expert by the end of it. Like I was a fiend for the Jollof rice. I wanted it everywhere we went.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's gonna be spicy. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be
It's
good.
gonna be so good. The best tilapia I've had.
Yeah, yeah.
And they
I
it
got
was
that.
so funny before we went. Andrew was like, "Now let me prepare you. The fish is gonna have a head on it, so don't let that scare you." But no, everything was so good. The food was amazing.
Yeah. I liked just one more thing about some of the highlights. Going to the Volta. The Volta
Yeah.
region was sorry, somebody's trying to call me in my Zoom meeting. The Volta, can everybody hear me?
Mhm.
I'm sorry. The Volta region was just incredible. I mean, we had ceremonies. The music there was amazing too. The people we met. Um, that's where you get, kind of in the village, and a lot of indigenous culture, and that was remarkable to me.
Mhm. And another one of my favorite things when we went to the Volta, I don't know if it was in the Volta, I think it was. We actually went to one of the shops where they make the kente cloth. And that was so amazing to see them make that. And we actually got to sit in the little machines and make some
Wh-
ourselves. So
We
that was
we didn't do
good.
that. Hold on, we didn't. Wait a minute.
Oh,
Every trip is different. Every trip is different.
I'm like, wait a
but
minute.
that
Hold
was
on.
that was that was so cool to
All
see. I mean,
right.
they had like these big looms, and they're sitting there with the pedals, and it was amazing. And to actually get there and do it a little bit, that was a fun experience.
Mm, mm,
And
yeah,
I actually got original kente cloth, and he
yeah,
actually stitched it together for me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to let you know that, Jay. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
It hurt my feelings,
I'm
but
sorry.
I'll be okay next time. I'm going back.
Well, since we're on a call with a group of Fiskites, I want to know if there's anything about being a Fiskite that was meaningful um during your experience.
One thing I missed was I wanted to go to W.E.B. Du Bois's house. I really wanted, but we were trying to go, but it was just, I mean, the schedule was packed. We were trying to go, but I really wanted to go there. So, I mean, kind of meaningful, but, in the sense that I really want to do it next time.
We went to the Du Bois Center. Jay, I'm sorry. Jay, I
Angela,
hate to do it to
Angela.
you, Jay. I hate to do
Oh
But
man.
that was meaningful as a fifth night. So it was actually a group of us fifth night there. We took a picture from the Boys Center, and I want
Yeah.
to say Kayla actually, because they had like this room and they had the Clark Atlanta flags and all that stuff where he taught, and we was like, hey, the fifth flag should be the biggest one in here. So I
Yeah.
think
Mm,
Kayla ended up actually sending them something to put in the Boys Center. But that was a highlight as a fifth night to go to the Du Bois Center. That was.
mm.
We have that picture, Angela, that we can show them. We can show you with the flag. It's the gold one. We're gonna take a blue one. Well, I don't know because that's my flag, so I don't know if we're gonna leave it there. But there is a gold one, and it's big.
Yeah,
Um,
okay, so I think Taylor sent that one. Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
really nice. Hopefully, we can before the call is over. Uh, Kareem, do you have that picture with the flag from the Du Bois?
Let me see if I can pull.
Okay.
Well, hopefully, uh, you guys realize like every trip is very different. So we curate them based on the interest of the group. So Jay's group was all about people interested in long-term relationships with the continent. So they got to also experience like a real estate tour and things like that. Whereas Valexia's group was more about kind of just getting a high level view of the landscape. So Jay forgot to mention that he went to the presidential palace, for example.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so they were all
it's
about the
true.
business.
It's true.
Whereas Valexia's group had different interests. So we highly curate each experience. It's not a cookie cutter trip. It's not a cookie cutter itinerary. It's based on the interest of the group. So for example, if
So,
people express interest in some of the outdoor stuff and want to visit a waterfall,
Oh,
we can
that's
make that
cool.
happen. Oh, there's the picture. So the picture on the bottom, that's Alexia at the top. Um, and then that's Jay. Oh wow, this is perfect. This was not
yeah.
even planned.
Oh, really?
This was not planned. Valexi at the top with my nephew. I told you it was a family affair, so that's my nephew. And then to the left is Jay at the naming ceremony in the central region where they got traditional names. And then in the bottom right corner is three Fiskites as well in front of that banner that we placed right above W.E.B. Du Bois's grave. So that's in the space that his grave where he's laid to rest. So we are represented as Fiskites, and I look forward to carrying on this legacy. So I see we have a couple questions in the chat. Will Lillian and Vicky says, will the same tour guides be used? For the most part. But one thing I have noticed is that pretty much all of the tour guides are phenomenal. They're really well prepared. They are super professional. They know their stuff. Every time I meet a new tour guide, I'm blown away at the ways in which they are able to connect with the history and with the contemporary and engage the audience. So I have no concerns about the tour guides. Timothy asks, what is the dining experience like? Anybody want to speak to that in terms of like the restaurants where you eat?
I, okay. I love all the food. The I didn't like the customer service. I had to get used to it. I had to get used to it, and it was like the food was great everywhere we went, but the customer service was like I was like, dude, what is happening right now? And I mean it's some and it was different things, different places. Sometimes it just took us long to get food. At some places, I thought that I just had to keep like repeating myself, and at some places it's kind of like they couldn't split it up or something like that. But I mean, there's some places that do that. But I had to get used to the customer service, definitely. But it was all different type of food spots. Um, yeah, all yeah. I mean, food from yeah, it ranged from wherever, really. Yeah, it was all different type of food spots.
25 inches of snow is what they predict in the DMV area.
Yeah, so as far as the dining experience, the only thing that I had to get used to was the wait time because everything was made fresh to order. So that was the only thing that kind of got me with the dining experience. And like you said, the food was always amazing everywhere we went.
Yeah, those are some things that are definitely like a common experience because um first of all, just traveling in big groups, like the Ghana's tourism infrastructure is still developing. So
Hmm.
as a result, the kind of hospitality around that tourism infrastructure is still developing, which means that customer service isn't always as fast or reliable as we're used to
Hmm.
here. And then the same thing, the foods are not frozen. They're not, everything's made to order. So when we come in with a big group, one thing that we instituted after Valexia's group and with Jay's group, I don't know if you know this, Jay, is that we take our orders in advance. So
Oh, okay.
we circulate the menu for
Hmm.
for the restaurant sometimes that afternoon for dinner.
Yeah. Okay.
And so
That's
that
true.
way we get our orders placed
Hmm.
and so that tries to minimize the wait time. So the things that are outside of our control, like wait time, we still try to mitigate it by being prepared and letting the restaurant know we're coming with a big group. Here's our orders.
Hmm.
So we try to get that resolved. But thanks for sharing that. Um, Sylvia says, I lived in Labadi for 6 months. That sounds amazing. I'd love to do that.
please.
Is the palace that you mentioned in the city of Kumasi. Um, oh, so the palace I mentioned was the presidential palace, which is in the city of Accra. So that's the seat of government. So Jay got a chance to meet with members of the president's cabinet as part of particularly the Office of Diaspora Affairs. In addition to the Volta regional minister and other governmental officials. So they were all about their business. The palace that you're referring to in the chat is in Kumasi, which is the palace of the paramount chief of the Ashanti region. That's the Ashanti, the Ashanti Henny is like the chief, like the chief of chiefs in the Ashanti region, and he has a seat in Kumasi. We as a group in February will not be traveling to Kumasi. Kumasi is about a 5-hour bus ride away or a short flight away from Accra, but we will have some time in our schedule that if people wanted to do a free day where they, ventured off on their own, and because you can take a flight there in the morning and come back in the afternoon, and it's like $100 round trip or $150 round trip. So there will be some free time in the schedule for folks to take off and do side adventures like that if that's what they wanted to do.
And speaking of that, can we pull up, Kareem, the itinerary that we have for right now so that everybody can see that? Kareem, there we go. Okay,
Here we go.
there we go. So Angela, if you want to walk us through.
Sure. So first day is arrival day. Most of us are going to be flying in on the same flight. If you can come in on the group ticket, I believe, Kareem, we said that flight arrives in the morning. That direct flight from DC or New York is about 9 hours long, 9.5 to 10 hours long. So people tend to be very exhausted by the time they arrive in Accra in the morning. So we get you from the airport. We allow you to get some currency exchange, maybe get some food, and let you just settle into your room, get a shower, take a nap, and just rest up from that really long journey. And then by the end of the day, that's either the end of the day on the first day or the beginning of the day on the second day is when we have our welcome meal. And so that's when we get together and make sure that everyone is oriented and has what they need and just have a welcome reception. On day 2, we start with the Accra City Tour, which is when we go around the city, we see Old Accra, which is like the historic part, and also New Accra. If you've ever seen the big monument that says freedom and justice, like with the black star on it, that's sort of picturesque for Accra. So we see that, as well as the Kwame Nkrumah Museum and the W.E.B. Du Bois Center, which Jay unfortunately didn't get to go. But I also know that this is not Jay's last time in Ghana. Jay will be coming back. So there's so much more to see and do, and we can't squeeze it all into one trip. So then day 3 is when we take off for the central region. That's the area of Cape Coast where we engage with that's like about a 3-hour trip, a 3-hour bus ride. So it's an overnight trip. So we stop on our way at the Asin-Manso slave river site, which is the site that Jay mentioned about the last bath. So it's a river where you get to walk up to the river and step your feet in and really just have some solemn moments around that. And then, so we're spending the night in Cape Coast. And we wake up the next morning on the beach. And we tour the Cape Coast Castle before returning back to Accra. On day 5, we spend more time in the cities, really doing some shopping. This is the time for souvenirs and paintings and carvings and clothing and all the types of things that people like to buy, beads, etc. So we spend some time at the Art Center, which is the primary market for getting those really traditional goods. We also visit Makolo Market, which is the largest open air market in West Africa. And so you get to see exactly how people engage and trade there. Day 6 is a free day for people to rest and or take off on excursions that they like to do. We provide lots of support for people who want to take off and do something else. So either point you in the right direction, help you get there, give you some suggestions or recommendations on things to do or places to go. Or if you just want to rest up and take a day to yourself, you can do that. On day 7 is when we take off for our second overnight trip, and that's to the Volta region that both Alexia and Jay mentioned. That again is about another 3 to 3.5 hour trip into the Volta region, which borders Togo, so it's like the eastern border of the country. It's very lush, very green, rural, traditional. And so I like to tell people that think of your time in the Volta region as a retreat because there might be moments where you don't have access to cell phone signal or internet. It's green, it's lush, it's beautiful, it's quiet, it's authentic. And that's where our family is from. My family is from. So we will do our traditional naming ceremony in the Volta region, which is different from what Jay experienced in the central region. So we switch it up. And then day 8, we'll visit the Nchimchim Museum, which is coming back from the Volta region. So the Nchimchim Museum, if you've ever been to Montgomery, Alabama, to the Equal Justice Institute's Legacy Museum, there's some sculptures there by a Ghanaian sculptor. And that same Ghanaian sculptor has a museum in a place called Ada outside of Accra. So we'll get to experience that. And I think that really does bridge the gap between the continent and the diaspora. That's one of my favorite places to go because to see those sculptures sort of on this side of the transatlantic slave trade and then go to Montgomery, which actually is where Valexia lives, and see the sculptures and exhibit on that side of the transatlantic slave trade, to me, it just does some really deep rooting work. So we get back to Accra and then have another free day. Hopefully by that day, you'll be familiar enough with Accra to have some places that you want to go, or sometimes people say, oh, I didn't get all my souvenirs, I want to continue shopping, or there was a restaurant that I wanted to try out, or I know someone here that I want to meet up with, or I want to follow up with the art exhibit or something like that. So that day 9 is reserved for that. And then we all meet back up for a farewell dinner for a trip that ended too quickly. And then everyone takes off on the last day. Let me know if you have any questions about that.
And then, of course, when you get back, you need 3 or 4 days just to get yourself together. So make sure you do that. You have some, for those of you who still work, make sure you take some time off to get, and we already have our first person booked. Of course we would, Dr. Moody, who is our general alumni. This is our National Alumni Association Eastern Region Chair. So he is, I don't think he's on the call, but he is the first one booked. I am the immediate past president of the Eastern Region. So this is my successor. He's doing a great job. And so he's already booked. I guess I have to follow him. Are there other questions? Is there anything? I don't know. Maybe we need to, for some people who came in a little bit later, do we need to show them maybe in the very beginning? Yeah, just okay. Our travel dates, first of all, deposit, the deadline, February 28th. And we will be traveling February 12th through the 21st of 2027. Double occupancy. we probably need to show some pictures of what the rooms might look like. I know a lot of you, if you have not traveled out of the country, especially to any of the in Europe or whatever, double occupancy rooms are not like double occupancy rooms in America. The beds can be pushed very close together, so you would need a very good relationship with the person that you are sharing this room with, because you may have to get out of your bed on opposite sides because the bed's pushed together. Or there may be a nightstand or whatever in the middle in some rooms. But I know when we were in London, it was quite, the quarters were close. It was close. Yeah, very close. So, and if we can, we'll show you some pictures of that. But single occupancy is $6,200. And we won't know the cost of the flight until March 27th. And we've already said, just to recap, the cost includes your 9 nights of accommodations, whether they're in Accra or in any of the places that Angela mentioned that we would be in. The airport transfers, the meals, 9 breakfasts, 2 lunches, because we get a lunch whenever we're traveling. You get a box lunch, and then we have 2 dinners, the welcome dinner and the farewell dinner. And then, of course, sightseeing and whatever. What it does include, we will be on motor coaches. They will be air conditioned. They are modern. And we will have tour guides, local guides and managers and all kinds of orientation. And there will be a nice t-shirt. Yes. And it also includes, believe it or not, a donation to WFAA, which monies go to Fisk. What it does not include is your airfare, the visa fees, travel insurance, which we highly recommend that you get travel insurance. If you're going to spend this kind of money, you must have travel insurance. The vacation entry, no, what's wrong with my mouth? The entry requirements, we'll be working that out so that we'll have a day or a couple of days set up here in the DMV, so we can go together, possibly to like Costco or someplace. But make sure you check with your insurance provider. You can pay through Zelle, Zeffy, or you can make checks payable to the WFAA and mail them in. We've come up with a payment schedule. You pay by February 28th. Start making payments March 10th. They're due the 10th of each month. Either $500 if it's double, $570 if you are doing a single. And that's all the way through December. You have to have that yellow fever vaccination. And we know that they do offer that at Costco. So, but we're asking for you to check with your pharmacy and with your insurance provider to see if any of that is covered. It's a $60 fee for the visa that is not covered in the cost of the trip, and it lasts for 90 days. And we'll be coordinating that. So that's it. Summary kind of in a nutshell.
Kudos to Willie Moody for making his deposit. That means he can just, the sooner, if you're interested and want to go, once you make your deposit, then you can just start paying down the trip. So you can accelerate that at whatever pace you would like. So, yep.
Right now we have it set up so that you start paying in March all the way through the end of the year, so that it's not it's not as much of a hardship. It's like anything else. You pay every month, and by the end of the month, before Christmas, you're done. You're done, and we're not leaving until February. So that's the good part. With our payment plan. Only thing that it will not include is your airfare, which we will let you know whether we're leaving from Dulles or if we are leaving from Atlanta or where we're leaving. We're going to see about getting a good group fare. Right now, it's about $1,500, but we're hopeful, prayerful that The group fare will be much less than that, and we'll have those details in March for you.
And depending on the airline, if you have miles with Delta or United, that's how you can kind of maximize that. So
Yes.
we'll, share the flight information and whether you choose to be on the group or use your miles or however, you'll have your options there.
Yep. Are there other questions? Is there anything we didn't cover?
Do you think there's a possibility that we might be able to coordinate for those of us in New Jersey? Yep, that's our goal to do all of that, Jana, just like how we did for
Great,
um Paris.
Paris.
Yeah.
great, thanks.
Yep. And so in terms of the flight, DC has a nonstop flight that's on United that leaves out of Dulles. And then the other option would be Delta. And Delta's two flights for Ghana or two routes are either New York or Atlanta, depending on where the majority of people are and if there's a good enough number to like feed people from Atlanta out and then feed people from New York out. We have a lot of flexibility there.
Oh, good.
Because that's what we did for Paris. We had a lot of
Yeah.
people who flew here to the DMV
Oh, right.
from Houston, from Atlanta, from Florida, from Detroit. We had everybody coming here except three of you all
Right.
that left out of Newark. And that will still be because we know that there's a flight that leaves out JFK. So that would be probably the easiest, but we will let you know those options.
Yeah, we just nothing's been posted yet because we're so early on the flight
That's
side.
okay.
Yep. And our goal is whatever the routes we take is to have our flights arrive as close to possible so that we could be shuttled from the airport to the hotel together.
Well, that worked perfectly in Paris. You couldn't have done it any better.
Yeah.
We got there all at the same time.
Yeah, we did.
Yes,
About 10 minutes from each other.
Because we didn't want to lose anybody, and we didn't.
Yeah, no, that worked out great.
No, we didn't.
So are there other
What's the weather like in February?
It's warm. It's warm and dry in February. So it's going to be hot, especially in contrast to what the type of weather that we're going to be experiencing here is definitely going to be a bit of a shock. So I tell people to bring light, breathable fabrics, cotton, linen, those types of fabrics. Ghana is a pretty conservative country, not extremely conservative, but conservative enough where women are usually covered, not super revealing, not super short shorts, not a lot of midriff and things like that, but modest clothing that's comfortable. We will be doing some walking, so to the extent that you can have comfortable walking shoes, that's also helpful. Of course, people with mobility challenges will be accommodated, so no concerns there. But those of you who would like to walk and are able to, make sure that you're comfortable in doing so.
And we will have other follow-up calls. We'll keep you abreast of the weather, like 10 days out, 2 weeks out, whatever, to let you know so that you're not packing a winter coat. And as Angela said, and you really need some walking shorts. Timothy.
Just wanted to ask, I know we all live in the same country right now, with the same president, and these travel bans. Do we have any, I don't know if Ghana will reciprocate. Would that affect any visas being processed on our end? Or
so historically,
I know it's moving, it's a moving kind of story, but just put it out there.
Historically, Ghana and the United States have had a very friendly relationship, and they still do. But those are things that we certainly stay abreast of. So if there are any changes, I'll be communicating with the group. But I don't anticipate any challenges or hardships or complications as it relates to visa, travel, entry, exit, nothing like that, unless there's a global pandemic, which we're praying that those days are behind us. I don't anticipate any hardships as it relates to getting in and out of Ghana. Thanks for the question. Any last words from Jay or Valexia?
No, not really. Just enjoy. I'm excited for you all, especially for you all. It's your first time going. So enjoy. I'm sure it's going to be an amazing experience of your life. I'm sure.
You know, you're welcome to go with us, Jay. You're welcome.
I know. I thought about that. I'm gonna go this year, for sure. So I'm just trying to figure out when I'm gonna go. And Angela was telling me where you all are gonna stay, and I've been over there, and I'm like, that's gonna be crazy. That's gonna be great. So I'll think about it. We'll see.
Okay. You're welcome to come. You're welcome to come.
I appreciate it.
I was just bragging to my team today that I said that one thing we can really hold out for ourselves is that so many people that come with us to Ghana go back again. One of the people that was in Jay's group is now on his third trip to Ghana already. So people feel very comfortable going back. They fall in love with it. And I think that it attests to how good of an experience they had and that they felt well taken care of. So that's my only, self-promotion is that a lot of my guests come back again.
That's good. That's good. That's the best Yelp review yet. See. So any other questions before we call it a night? Oh, it's exactly 1 hour. Oh, it's 9 p.m. I know some of us are on different time zones and everything. And so I'd like to thank you all for joining us tonight. We will probably have another follow-up call. And tell your friends. If you need information, just reach out to us and we're happy to, get the information. And we'd love to have you join us on this trip as we go to Ghana in 2027. So thank you and good night.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks, Angela.
Job well done, ladies.